A veteran quarterback and running back who are playing like it's 2018 again, a playmaker who's trying to shake the boom bust label, and a talented wide receiver on the rise. We are getting you ready for the fantasy playoffs and for week 15. This is Not So Obvious Locks of the Week. Let's talk about it. What up and welcome to Not So Obvious Locks of the Week. I'm your host, Neil Maligno. This is presented to you by Rival Fantasy Sports. Not So Obvious Locks of the Week are players who are not ranked inside the consensus top 10 this week, but who have the potential upside to finish there. Always remember that your roster decisions ultimately belong to you, so use my advice as a tool, but make sure you make that final decision. I keep these episodes quick hitting. If you want longer or interactive content, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications, and catch our weekly live streams, which just for this week only happens to be Saturday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Now let's jump into the Not So Obvious Locks of the Week. Joe Flacco finished as a top 10 QB in Week 14, finishing the day with 311 yards and 3 touchdowns. In Week 15, Flacco faces off against a Bears defense that had a mixed bag of games versus quarterbacks this year. Joe signed a new contract with the Browns, so he's riding high off a big performance and the new deal. Flacco is in the perfect situation for success, a great defense, surrounded by playmakers at wide receiver, running back, and tight end, making him my not-so-obvious lock of Week 15 at quarterback. Ezekiel Elliott rewinded the clock in Week 14 against the Steelers and will have another shot to repeat that performance in Week 15 versus the Chiefs. The Patriots offense flourished under Zappe, opening things up for Elliott in the passing game as well. And the Chiefs defense hasn't really slowed down running backs this season, so there's no reason to believe that Zeke will slow down in Week 15, making him my not-so-obvious lock at running back. Jaylen Reed is a stud of a playmaker, having finished top 12 at wide receiver 3 times this season in PPR scoring, including a top 6 finish in Week 14. Through 14 weeks, Reed is averaging similar points per week to Amari Cooper, Drake London, Rashee Rice, and others. Now, the Packers are down weapons with Aaron Jones, Musgrave, and likely Christian Watson out, so Reed will be dependent on to put up points in Week 15 against the Bucs. Tampa has given up big weeks to receivers all season long, so the dynamic playmaker Reed is in for a big game, making him my not-so-obvious lock at wide receiver. Taysom Hill may be one of the most boom-bust players in fantasy football, yet he's currently producing as a top 12 tight end in PPR scoring, and that's with missing last week in Week 14 due to injury. In Hill's last 7 games, he's actually had 5 top 6 tight end weeks, trying his best to shake that boom-bust label. At this point, Saints fans are so fed up with Derek Carr that they probably would prefer to have Taysom Hill as their starting quarterback, but in all seriousness, the Saints face the Giants in Week 15, a defense that Hill should have success against, making him my not-so-obvious lock of the week at tight end. Now, if you want more from Rival Fantasy Sports, go ahead and subscribe to the channel now. You can also follow us on social at Rival Fantasy, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And of course, download the Rival Fantasy Sports app or visit rivalfantasy.com to start playing the best fantasy platform around. Challenges, bingo, season-long sports, best ball incoming, the one fantasy platform to rule them all. Go check it out, Rival Fantasy Sports, the app, or rivalfantasy.com. That's it for Not So Obvious Locks of Week 15. Good luck to you if your playoffs have started. We will catch you guys in the comments. I'm out.